Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike going to have a go at Werrell. Don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Further down, Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's just like trouble. He's left on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Monday night. It can only mean one thing. It's the Radical SR8 Championship from Brands Hatch. I'm James Parker, going to be joined in the booth today by Howie Burroughs, who's going to come along for Brands, which should be a rather exciting race. Let's put it that way. Don't forget, there's two of them tonight. There's a 10-minute sprint. There's a 45-minute feature with a pit stop, and there's the top 10 reverse grid as well. So there's lots for these guys to get themselves into, get to the front and get points on the board. And what a nice little segue into the next part here as well. The points on the board are this. They have had one drop week applied. Okay, so they have had one drop week applied. The next one will be applied after Imola. The last two rounds at Knockhill and Nords cannot be dropped. James Barry is your leader on 315, with John McCutcheon on 302, then Ewan Bramer on 284, Jamie Bird on 273, Paul Crabb on 270, Mike Bousson on 250, then Luke Maxwell on 234, George Gonzaga on 217, Robert Williams on 208, and Stefan Mellis on 204. Then you got Eric Harmon, Graham Matthews, David Robertson, Josh Reed, Menno de Graaf, Carl Jacklett, Paolo Tempera, and Julian Rees. And then behind that is obviously Wayne Palmer. No points on the board for Steve Burns and Colin Wynn at this moment in time. Last time out at Bathurst, Eric Harmon took the win in race number 1 with John McCutcheon in second and Luke Maxwell in third. And then in race number 2, which was an absolute banger, was McCutcheon, Maxwell and Barry. If you've not seen it yet, you should definitely go and watch race number 2 from last week at Bathurst. It was just one of them races that you sit back and go, oh my God, what am I watching? It was absolutely amazing. As I said, it is Brands Hatch. We've got Imola coming up next week, and then we go to Knockhill, and then we finish off with the 60 minutes at Nords. Yes, 60 minutes, no sprint race at Nords. It's not worth it. They will get literally 2 laps and that will be the end of it. But we are here. We're going to put them on a 60-minute at Nordschleife for the final round of the season. They will have to make pit stops. It's going to be very, very interesting indeed. We have just entered into qualifying, so this brings the chance to have a chat with Howie. Howie, welcome in. How are you?
Well, that is a Petit Le Mans winner, Howie, to you. I'm milking that for a few more days.
Did you win? Did you win?
Won the LMP2 class, second on the road overall because all the GTPs crashed. What a hell of a weekend. All we did was not crash, and that actually got us the first.
Dude, look at that. Listen to this, YouTube Jack. You've got a Petit Le Mans winner and you've got an MX500 winner at Martinsville in the booth. You have got 2 winners here this evening as well. Let's have a celebration. JPB rocking the winners in the broadcasting. And guess what? Just to really top it all off for you all at home, We're only commentators. I don't even drive that often.
Winning the MX 500 is probably the greatest endurance challenge in all of iRacing, to be honest. That thing was nasty.
Dude, don't. And what's worse is I got trapped in VR. Oh, mate. I was literally did VR. I had a spotter. I was like, right, I just want to get used to the VR a minute, dude. I'll probably only last an hour anyway because, you know, it's Martinsville and it's MX 500s. 4.5 hours later, I was on the final lap on the third green-white checker in the lead from where I started at the back of the grid. So, yeah, but hey, listen, winning Petit Le Mans, absolutely amazing as well. When did you finish that one off in the end?
We started it at 11 a.m. the day before, 11 p.m. the day before. We just made it all the way through. We had a 4-person team, so we could do at most like 2 stints at a time and keep ourselves rested. The moment it was over, I came to this very track to try my best to spectate the Formula Ford Festival in real life with the weather murdering us and the tiredness murdering me. Tried my best. The weather wasn't helpful, but go watch the grand final of that on YouTube if you wish. That was an unbelievable race with some crazy stories. So yes, you had me at Brands Hatch, my favourite track in all of iRacing, and not probably just because it's local, but also because maybe I'm quite good at it. It's very hard. It's not a passing track. It is a survival and testing your mettle around some of the scariest corners in Britain.
Yeah.
Love it. I could talk about it for hours.
Yeah, it's a great race circuit here as well. Bounty, welcome in. Even James and Co. Come on, Rob Williams gets stuck in. He's been doing all right, to be fair, Bounty, considering his return back to the SR8. It's not done too bad at all. He's had his moments, and he had his bottling moments where he was out on pole position, and it didn't go so well. Bounty, let's just put it that way. With the aliens that are in and around him at the moment. John McCutcheon comes over the line, sets a 1:17.8 at the moment. It's been an absolutely epic battle between John McCutcheon, Ewan Bramer, Eric Harmon and James Barry. They've been backwards and forwards constantly. It's been like a prize fight here. It's been absolutely amazing, and some great action has taken place as well. Brands, the circuit that is loved, is the circuit that, you know, held the F1 at one point. Hasn't held the F1 for absolutely ages, but, you know, let's face it, it probably can't nowadays. But isn't it one of them circuits where you are kind of never at ease? Howie, you're always fighting something, you know, the drop through Dingle coming up the other side as well, out through Sheen's blind corner. There's always a lot going on at Brands.
It's just one of those tracks where you're fighting the track rather than the other people. Passes are very hard here. You sort of have to be very, very brave, very committed. Really, it's about not making horrific mistakes yourself. The elevation change unsettles the car all over the place. There's some smooth ones, there's some tight ones, there's some really, really hard ones. And if you can make it all the way through, get a good pole lap and make it all the way through without spinning, you could very often win on the back of that if you've covered yourself off a few times. But that's an achievement alone. Every corner is a trap. That's one example, but many. Yeah,
30's there for James Barry. Big old snap. Man of the Graph is back on the 118.886. Rolliston 118.999. Williams on a 119.081. And at the moment, Josh Reed has not got a lap time. Neither has Carl Jacklett, Graham Matthews, Howie Gonzaga, or Stefan Mellis. No times on the board there. Purple for Barry in sectors 1, green in 1, 2 and 4, yellow in 3, but we saw him have a big old snap on that one, and that's probably fully understanding why that was there as well. It was a very, very tough one. I'm not really sure for James Barry whether or not this is going to be an improvement. It's a purple in sectors 5. I'm not quite sure why we have 6, but we do. And over the line, they're going to go. It's a purple again. What did he do on the board there for Barry? I think there must have been an off track in place there for James Barry, because the time did not. He went into 4th. I don't think that registered as one there, and I think that he's going to have to go again for Mr. Barry. And I can tell you now, yes, there was an off track in there as well. I'm absolutely loving the SR8s. I think this season they've done a breath of fresh air with the SR8s. These guys, they've put on an absolute show as well. One of them cars that it's the feeder car up into the SR10s, up into the LMP2s, isn't it, really?
I think one of iRacing's biggest crimes was dumping this car at the door and saying no more and replacing it with a paid one that people don't even like as much. I played a bit of iRacing when the SR8 was a thing, and I did a couple races, and I was terrible. It was me like 3-4 years ago. It was a disaster, but I did have a ton of fun in it. It's super pointy, super responsive, super unique. And it's a shame the whole iRacing ladder for this car is a shadow of its self, because people fell in love with this. I think they've decided the LMP3 is the runner, but I do like that car. It's very, very, very hard. This car is, I mean, you say if I could just squint for the corner where the racing comes alive. I think it does absolutely come alive in these cars. They built these things for the side-by-side battles and for the bravery. And looking at this field, we have already 5 drivers within just a second. There's still time to go in the qualifying session.
Yeah, Ewan Brayman's going to come over the line as well. This is going to be an improvement. How much of an improvement is it? 117.258. Oh my dearie me. That top is going to be very, very close together indeed. You can see the gap. We break a second down at 7th with Eric Harmon. 10 that's down and pushed out to 8th now as Menno de Graaf is inside that second mark there. Williams has just gone over the line, put himself up into the top 10. Carl Jacklett in behind in 11th. Jamie Bird goes and puts himself into 4th as well. We've got Dave Rolliston, who's had a great start to the season. He's gone and put himself on 5th, and it continues there as well. Josh Reed, absolutely flying. He's gone up into 8th place, 9th place. James Barry is improving again here. It's been a James Barry duel all season long, and that's reflected in the James Barry, John McCutcheon standings, and it's still going to continue on here at Brands. 117.067 for Barry. The times is just improving, Howie, but they've still got 7.5 minutes to go.
The tyres really start to come in over extended runs over here, and then you can start pushing incredibly hard. It's one of those tracks where I love the tracks that are smooth and have a rhythm. They don't have any just like random BS like 90-degree hairpins. It's like, all my fun is over. No crazy chicanes, although I'm not anti all of them. Nothing here. Everything flows into the next one. As a result, you sort of autopilot. You lock in, and then you just get a little bit faster and faster on each run. Your exits matter so much on tracks like this.
Absolutely. Williams in to 11th place. Jamie Bird, Eric Harmon there. Carl Jacklett has got some improvements on the board. Where is he going to go into 11th? That pushes Williams down into 12th. Rolliston puts himself into 4th place. McCutcheon's going to come over the line. No improvements on his time there for now for John. And Barry has got another purple and a green. What is the offset against them 3 yellows? Coming up over the line now. James Barry, is this going to be an improvement on his time? 17.067. Oh, I don't believe it is. 17.108 for James Barry. Ewan Bramer has got purples in the middle in sectors 2 and 3, green in sectors 5. What's he going to have coming over the line now for Ewan Bramer? Is this going to be an improvement? It's looking like it might be an improvement. Is it going to be an improvement? How much of an improvement? 117.234. He goes above John McCutcheon, jumps up into 3rd place. Jamie Bird with an improvement. These guys are just getting Howie closer and closer and closer and closer together. We're not even out of a second out of the top 10 at the moment. This could be probably an absolute banger. Or going on that run up into Druids, it could just all go wrong for all of them.
I mean, if someone doesn't go too wide down paddock kill, then what's the point? You know, there could be some real bravery if a gap this close. I'm kind of waiting to see if Barry or someone else can get us below the 17s. It's tantalizingly close. It's got to be possible. I'm seeing the 067 thinking that's not the limit. We got more. James Barry with 2 purple sectors. Show me a 16. Not gonna happen. It's possible. I know it can be done. Oh! You guys finally updated. We got it.
16.861 for Barry there. It's going to be vitally important what Ewan Bramer and John McCutcheon are going to be able to do at this start. I can tell you that much, because one of the main things they want to be able to do is get over the top of this man. Stop him, escape him. Mellis goes over the line in 13th. Graham Matthews in 14th. Ewan Bramer, 17.281. Menno de Graaf, Gonzaga. Bird's got an improvement on in sectors number 4. And this is going to be one of them races where I think we're going to sit back and just be like, oh my dearie me. As you say, Brands Hatch is very tight, very easily defendable on Brands Hatch. You can just put your car in the middle of the circuit and it will generally stop anybody going through. Carl Jacklett has just got greens on the board, puts himself up into the top 8. Rolliston is coming over the line as well. Josh Reed just got over the line. Still no improvements for Muck Hutchinson again. James Barry again is just going faster and faster and faster. And I think it's time we got the inspectors down to have a look at his car there, Howie, because he's 11 minutes in. And at the moment, his tyres don't seem to be looking like they're going to get any worse. A 1:16.863. Is it time for an inspection for James Barry?
Who would cheat the JPB Radical SR8 Championship? Who would be so heartless, so cruel? Nah, there's such a thing as a king of Brands Hatch, in my opinion. If you can nail Droid, calm down Graham Hill, if you can cut Westfield and Sheen just enough, you can get these little advantages. And you know, I've beaten people before that thought they were experts around this track, because once you've done it a million times, you realise the tiny, ridiculous little advantages available.
Yeah. And there are definitely some out there for people as well, and they can and probably will make the most of them. But there's also some absolute killers of certain parts of this racetrack. And, well, if they do that, that's going to be a different story altogether, because, as we say, there are killers parts on this race circuit as well. And going up through the blind right-hander, Sheen is one of them. Very difficult corner, dropping down through Dingledale.
The car just swinging up and down as it gains and loses weight over some of these hills. I personally find this section of the track to be one of the easier parts of the track. I think each corner flows quite easily, but you also, you can overdo a corner and lose a little bit of time. This back half is where the marginal times are lost. Not running Indy means you don't have that horrific McLaren Clark curve corner, which is actually one of the hardest on the whole track, in my opinion. People don't know it until they've done it. I've sent it into the wall many times around there, but still get that absolutely terrifying first half. It's good that a terrifying first half leads into a slightly more relaxing second half. I expect to see some big draft battles around that Pilgrim's Drop. I don't know how big the slipstream is in these cars. When I see a wing, I think, a little bit of slipstream, please.
Yeah, there is slipstream there, but as we saw at Brands, they had to be within about, I don't know, a half a tenth of each other, or just touching 1.5 tenths. I think that's the thing. They've got to be fairly close to make a difference here. You can see Barry is going purple again. How is this even possible? What has he got under them in them tyres here? It's going to be an improvement on the 16.7. How much of an improvement is it going to be? That's going to be the question. What is the improvement? With 16.774, and with only a minute to go, that's possibly going to be his last effort. Iwan Bremer will be next over the line. Menno de Graaf might get over, and Gonzaga possibly might get over the line as well. And Iwan Bremer going to take it into the pits. What about Menno de Graaf? Is he going to come round? No improvements for Menno. Gonzaga's got some improvements on the board in 7th place. He's got about 20 seconds to get to the end. Menno goes into the pit lane. What does Gonzaga do? He has got improvements. He will probably take this all the way down to the line for Gonzaga, as he's going to come over the line now. What is that final time on the board for Mr. Gonzaga, or was there a time? He jumps Jamie Bird. Bird goes over the line in 7th, and they stay as they are. 6th and 7th for Jorge Gonzaga and Jamie Bird there as well. So epic racing taking place so far, and I think we're going to have one of these battles that could be an absolute banger. But let's have a look at the grid here as well. James Barry is on pole. Alongside him is the Scotsman John McHutchinson. Ewan Bremer in 3rd, David Rolliston in 4th, Josh Reed in 5th. Gonzaga in 6th, and Jamie Bird in 7th, Eric Harmon 8th, Carl Jacklett in 9th, Menno Graaf in 10th. Then you got Mike Busson in 11th. Didn't really see much of Mike through practice, and Stephen Mellis, Rob Williams, and Graham Matthews. So hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back, grab a drink, get some popcorn, relax, and enjoy yourself, because you're about to see some absolute incredible racing here from these guys. We are just waiting for Mr. Barry to get on to the grid, as we're all going to be lined up ready to go. There he is, James Barry from pole position. Just waiting for Mike Busson, who's traditionally late. Is Mike, and here we go. The first race of the evening is going to be green 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is just green, green, green. Here we are live, ready to go. John McCutcheon got an absolute flyer. Barry did not hear it. Barry got jumped straight at the beginning. McCutcheon did what he had to do. Now Barry's going to go and try and force it out the inside. McCutcheon goes on the defense. He's taken the whole shot for the very first time, in through Druids, down through Graham Hill. They're trying to sort it out behind, and at the moment, Jacklett has just put, unfortunately, into the back of Mr. Gonzaga, and Carl Jacklett and Mellis and Gonzaga have made contact, I believe. Not Stephen Mellis, it was Jacklett and Gonzaga. Jacklett does let him go through. John McCutcheon for the opening part has taken the lead as they're going in through Hawthorns now. The right-hander for the first time down that Derek Minter straight there, Howie. McCutcheon did what he had to do. He had to get over Barry at the start, and he managed to do that as well.
Well, nothing scarier than going too wide of the paddock hill. Better to get the standing start right and get them done before you're even downhill. That wasn't the only incident actually on the first lap. I saw them spinning coming out of paddock hill at the very back. A lot of smoke. Drivers really starting to hustle on a track where they know they can't quite make up those gaps very easily, and every inch matters. So easy to make mistakes on that Indy circuit.
Yeah, it definitely does. McCutcheon, Barry, a break on the way. Jamie Bird tucked in behind David Rolliston at this moment in time here. Rollo there, looking. Bird trying to go, looking up the inside of Paddock Hill on that run up through Pilgrim's Rise. He's looking up the inside. Rollo's going to cover him off. He did cover him off there as well. Great job. Carl Jacklett has unfortunately had another incident in that car. Did he just pull over? Oh, it looks well broken. The nose is flickering around all over the place, and unfortunately that's just put Carl Jacklett round. That nose not looking comfortable in the front of Jacklett's car there, and to be honest with you, Howie, probably a good idea he's pulled over.
Probably shouldn't bump it into others. I say that as if I know who was responsible for that. I'm not going to play at that game at all on the road. Sometimes you don't actually know the extent of your aero damage. I've done whole GT3 races where I've not known that the rear wing is missing. I think I've just seen Mitch Huxton pull on side by side. Yes, the inside, but there's contact from John. They're trying to steer it in. I think there was a car there, mate. He's been sent. He's back on the track, but back 2 places.
Oh, I wonder how much contact there was with Barry there. Barry's up the inside. Oh, there definitely was. But I can tell you one thing, McCutcheon held on to it well. Now it's Ewan Bramer's turn to go at James Barry. McCutcheon's got some recovery to do. Jamie Bird trying to get onto the back of David Rolliston at this moment in time here currently. Menno Graaf further down. He's trying to catch up with Mike Busson, who's up 3 places. Williams is still going. Harmon has gone. No, that was Rolliston's gone round. David Rolliston has gone round. Was that all on his own? I've got a funny feeling, unless Bird has gone and absolutely sent it on him. Nope, the gap's going to close. It was on his own. I don't believe there was contact with Josh Reed there, Howie. And now Rolliston and Williams having a right little tussle further down.
Druids is the best place I've found to set up a pass in this track. If you can sort of pull a dive bomb, outbrake them, then you have momentum. But if you overcook it and put a bit too much work in, those tyres say bye-bye. And I think that was just it getting a little bit hot under him as I see Bird up ahead. Had a very, very tight gap, Jamie Bird. Almost got side by side for a second, but had to back off. You might be making the next attack, although it's about a similar gap between Barry and Bramer up front. So much to watch. I don't envy you here.
You can see Bird has got in now. He's chasing down on Reed. Bramer's in the mix. He's chasing down on Barry. Barry's just done a 1:17. Bramer's not going to let this go. He's come back with a 17.3. Is he going to be able to get hold of him this time? He's not. He's sitting just behind him. It's going to be a tough fight. The man, the Dutchman, the flying Dutchman from Simray, Sweden, is going to tuck in behind James Barry now. Is this going to bring McCutcheon back into play? Is this going to be a fight of the masses? Is it going to be a three-way scrap? It's a triple threat match. It's whatever you want to call it here at Brands, because these guys have only got 5 minutes to go, Howie. McCutcheon is coming. Whether or not he's coming quick enough, that's going to be the question. I think it could be an Ewan Bramer-Barry battle.
I wouldn't, though, consider overcooking it in the beginning of a sprint like this. I think points are point, and passing here is so brave and challenging. Bramer, he kind of gets 1 or 2 chances every lap to do this, and he doesn't get many of those laps. 10 minutes, though, not a very long time on a track that requires a bit of bravery and commitment. We've already seen what happens when you get a bit brave and committed.
Yeah, we're going to see that here. You are going to see Mike Buisson, Bird, Harmon and Reed get brave and get committed, because I can tell you one thing, these guys having this scrap is going to make this very, very interesting. McCutcheon, fastest lap of the race, 17.198 that popped up. I believe that was on the screen on the left-hand side. Now Buisson's going to climb up into Druids, round the right hand. Nearly lost his nose to James Barry then. That was almost a proper nose job for Mike Buisson.
So many corners on this track unsettle you, and I think that was taking a bit of the curb coming out of Surtees. That might have just been what did it. These cars, they have less grip than they look like they do, and I think the tyres are getting cooked up. There's no way that should spin you 9 out of 10 times, but sometimes you're unlucky, and with 4 minutes on the clock, that's not what you want to see.
No, definitely not. Reed now is under pressure from Harmon. Harmon took the win in race 1. He took cut pole in last week as well. In Bathurst, too wide up through there has not worked. It just barely worked this time. Eric Harmon making the most of that one as well. That run up into Sheens is not a place that you generally see a too wide scenario. It's not a place that you would sit back and go, there's going to be an overtake. Normally, Paddock Hill, Druids, maybe down to Graham Hill, on the run down into Hawthorns if you're lucky, but never in a month of Sundays where you see it up into Sheens like that. And David Rolliston has unfortunately gone off the track. Oh no, did he hold it? What's the car done after that? He did manage to hold it, and he carries on at this moment in time. But yeah, Surtees, Sheen, sorry, not a corner you see overtakes up.
These cars are small. These cars are some of the smallest cars you'll send on the whole GP track. Usually this is only open for the big GT cars, so where the space isn't really there. But I think there's enough to fit. You wouldn't race 3 wide, but there's enough cars to fit 3 wide if you were to squeeze them in tight, which means that we're seeing these moves expand that you don't normally get to see around here, which I love to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this circuit just endures itself to that. It gets the blood flowing, it gets the juices flowing here, and I think this is where we end up having one of an absolute barnstormer. Gonzaga and Buisson fighting over the front row at the moment. Both people have been involved in incidents. 1707, 1701, 17082. It is closing between Bramer and McCutcheon, but it's extending between Bramer and Barry. But Gonzaga and Buisson have both had their incidents here in the opening race, and I think now it's just a recovery through for them. See if they can hold on to that top 10. That will put them on the front row for race number 2. Gonzaga will be on pole. Buisson will be in second place. Bramer and McCutcheon. McCutcheon has just gone through on Bramer, and the same with Bird and Harmon, I think, as they're on the rundown as well, Howie.
I'm amazed to see we're still seeing these fights with only about a lap or 2 to go, but Bird is indeed side by side. That's a right-hand turn, though, so you don't quite get the line you want. Some of these corners, they don't really have multi-line racing. So if you don't get that move done before the end of the straight, and you can't stick it up the inside on someone like he's going to try to now, gets him clear, but he's pushed Harmon wide in the process. There's always a little bit of contact that's coming together in all these passes. People are really forcing the issue with the little machines.
should be the final lap of the race. It is. Barney is waving. And at the moment, James Barry is out in front. You go too wide at Sheens, you've got to expect contact. And there's been contact pretty much every single time an overtake has been made there. But Barry is absolutely pulled away and has said, thank you very much, I'll have that. Bird and Bramer side by side into Druids. Harmon, goes up the inside. Bird now has got Men of the Graph tucked in behind him. Harmon out in front, and Josh Reed has made up 2 places there. I'm wondering if they ended up going off together here for... that's where he got 1, but where did Josh Reed get Jamie Bird? Oh! I have... Jesus!
Call it that code or call it divine intervention. What did that card do?
It was that was not. It was too far away from anybody. But Barry's to have net code there, Howie. But I can tell you one thing: I have never ever seen that way before, and I've been at this for absolutely about 4 years now, and I've never ever seen a car react like that randomly. But James Barry's going to come over and take the victory in race number 1. John McCutcheon's going to get race number 2, and Ewan Bramer, he is in 3rd place there. Jamie Bird, is he going to get the rundown? Eric Harmon, it's going to be a rundown to the line. Who's going to get it? It's going to be Bird. I think, is it? Yeah. Yes, I believe, by 0.007.
Buzzer beater finishes across the line. Some drama in just the sprints. That's Brands Hatch, and that's also the SR8s.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the first 10 minutes done. But don't worry, we've got a 45 to contend with here. And, well, this is going to be interesting. I pushed the brake pedal that hard that my whole pedal deck has slid back 6 inches and wobbling. 4 bolts were Loctited in as well. David Rolliston in the Discord there as well seems to be having problems with his pedals as Carl Jacklett comes over the line. So Eric Harmon not too happy with Brands Hatch in the Discord there as well. With the words of "Go to hell, Brands," he said. So there we go. James Barry is your winner. John McCutcheon in 2nd. I think just the fact he can't get it right, Howie. Ewan Bramer in Josh Reed in 4th. Jamie Bird in 5th. Eric Harmon 6th. Men of the Graph 7th. Rob Williams 8th. Buson 9th. Gonzaga in 10th. Graham Matthews 11th. Then Stephen Mellis, Carl Jacklett, and David Rolliston there. We're going to take a... We'll have a short 5-minute warm-up before we go into race number 2. But that's going to be interesting, isn't it? That the 45 minutes now, if that's what happened in the first 10-minute race.
I think people are going to be a little bit elbows out in 10 minutes because there's no room for patience. If we see drama like that times 4.5, I don't think we'll even have voices left at the end of today. So as much as I'd love a good race, I do also value being able to speak the next day, and probably James the same. Yeah, I think you can afford to be more patient in 40 minutes. You can take your time a little bit, go for the sure passes rather than the crazy ones. But we're seeing crazy passes I didn't think were even possible around here just because of the size of these cars. I'm amazed.
Yeah, it's welcome to the championship, Howie. It's as simple as that. We've seen this all season, and we are continuing to see it here as well. Join us next week as we head to Imola. That should be interesting. Join us. Don't forget, guys, as well, if you are around tomorrow morning and you fancy watching some Australian V8s and a certain Mr. JP here drive an Aussie V8 tomorrow, I am doing a V8 Supercar League. So on there as well. So tune in for that one. We're going to go live about 10 to 10 in the morning. So if you sat around with not a lot to do and you want to come and have a combo with me, come and check it out. We'll be doing an Aussie V8 League around, as I say, we're going to Mugello. So, yeah, been a very interesting week of practice for me at Mugello, Howie. I've got to be honest, in a car that does not like it when you put the throttle down.
Count on James to make all the hours, I say, as the Eastern Times god, apparently. It's nice to actually be up at a British time for once for an event. But 8 in the morning for the Aussies. We actually did have to take an Aussie into our Petit Le Mans team and to run that at that time. So their times can be strangely amenable if you're willing to sacrifice everything else for them. I've not tried those V8s. I'm probably going to wait for the 3rd gen, but they are very, very scary. I hear that the modern NASCAR next gens are basically V8 supercars with a slightly different frame and a couple of small changes. They use the same platform. So maybe I'll be able to use them, although I was pretty bad at NAS Rover Week. So.
Well, that's the thing in an Aussie V8 at the moment. I did have to, literally, I thought it was going to be straightforward, right? You go from one car in iRacing to another, bit of practice, you could generally drive it. After round 2, I finally decided, right, I can't drive this car. It's doing my absolute nutting. So I did go and get some driver coaching, funny enough, from an Aussie who drives this cars incredibly well. And the first thing he said to me is, do you use auto blip? I said, yes. He said, turn it off. I said, you've got to be kidding me. He was like, no, try. So I tried it, and I knocked 4.5 seconds off my lap time.
I've had to learn to start manual blipping. I don't think I'll ever get to use a clutch pedal in my life, except maybe in the Formula V, because you shift like once every hour in that thing. But when it comes to the blipping, there's quite a few cars that you'll just get yourself, your kneecaps kicked in if you try and auto blipping them, because they're so sensitive, and you almost have to learn what you can get away with on the shifts.
Yes, and I said to him, do I have to use the clutch now? He said, no, when you go to change down and just tap the throttle a little bit. So I was like, okay, this is going to be a new experience. But as I say, it ended up taking about 4 seconds off my lap time. And I'm not, not completely dead last, which is always a good thing. I'd prefer not to be dead last when it comes to racing. And to be actually honest as well, I've not finished dead last at all for the first 2 rounds. So I'm mightily happy about that, because I was worried about the fact that I was going to finish dead last. And until I looked at the standards, and I was even happier. I made the top 20 over the first 2 races as well. Mind you, there's like 45 or 50 of us on the track. So made the top 20 in AMS. So yeah, dead pleased. But if you're around about 10 o'clock tomorrow morning and you want to watch some Aussie V8s, come along. We're at Mugello, which should be a very interesting one. Indeed. How would you handle 45 minutes of Brands, Howie?
I did it a lot when the GT3s came here. I became a little bit like obsessed with it, and it's sort of how I learned it. And to me, it was just run your own race. Can you just quickly fill me in? Is there a mandatory pit stop here?
Yes, they're going to need fuel. They don't have to take tyres, but they will need fuel.
So usually in the GT3 races, you want to wait as long as possible to stop and use out the whole tank. But from my experience around here was just stop when the traffic's bothering you, because it's the easiest way to get around them is to get good in and out laps. Otherwise, you're just stuck behind people on a track where what you're going to do, like you could do stupid things, or you could try and salvage your race at the end of the day. So it's very much about driving your own race around here, taking the chances that come. There are some bold ones you can get, but then playing your strategy a little bit around getting out of traffic. And then hopefully that can see you gain position for free.
Yeah, grid for race number 2. Gonzaga on pole, Buson in second, then Rob Williams and Menno de Graaf, Eric Harmon, Jamie Bird, Josh Reedy, Will Brayman rounds out the top 8, John McCutcheon, James Barry, Graham Matthews and Stefan Mellis. Then you've got Carl Jacklett, and I'm not quite sure if Mr. Rollison is going to take to the grid here, because whether or not he's going to be able to get it done in time. But stay tuned for this, because it's going to be absolutely mighty. 45 minutes around here now, and with that mandatory pit stop, as it says, take it when it's possible or when you run out. To be blatantly honest with you, I am not the greatest on pit stops. I literally run the tank out, and when my spotter says you need to come in this lap, that's when I go in. Sure, these guys may do something different, but they are on a fixed setup, so they can't change it from the beginning. Lights out, ladies and gentlemen, and away we go. Buson has just got an absolute rocket of a start there from Mike Buson. He went like an absolute bat out of hell. Jumped Gonzaga right at the start. Williams is in 3rd place. Harmon in 4th. McCutcheon up 4 places already, Howie. And we're not even past the opening few corners here. McCutcheon absolutely flying, with Barry still down in 8th.
God, what have we been putting on the left-hand side of that road? We've seen 2 races in a row now where the left has just launched to start and one. I wonder if there's something extra gritty around there today, as some of these drivers that were further back in the field battling each other. Could we go 3 wide? Can we do it, please? Not quite. Josh McCutcheon gets the best out of it for now. Long race ahead. The best place to be on Brands Hatch is in one, if the pressure doesn't get to you. It's very hard to get attacked and easy to cover them off, but these three are going to need to catch the few up ahead by any chance.
Oh my God, I thought Harmon and Bird were going to crash on the straight. Mellis is off in the background. Now Harmon's climbing all over the back of McCutcheon. Barry's in there climbing all over the back of Bird. Reed's in there now as well. It's too wide further back. Reed's going to try and sweep around the outside. He's not. He's trying to come underneath. Barry's in the pit lane. I'm wondering if there was a jump start from Mr. Barry, and that is why he's in the pit lane early here. Men of the Graph is tucked up behind the back of Stefan Mellis as well. Buson, fastest lap of the race. James Barry, huge moment for James Barry, straight in the pit lane, and he stopped. It gives a 40-second stop and hold. Buson there, round coming through Graham Hill. That's going to affect James Barry, but the only problem thing is he's got 45 minutes.
I mean, it is 45 minutes, but that's a big, it looks like about a 20-second gap that's been made up behind. So if you are legitimately fast around there, you'll make up that time. But not necessarily no problem. I think it's going to be a bit of a tall order. I'd love to see him make up places. If these cars hold each other up and cause drama, then getting clear air can be the #1 thing we want, though. Maybe then we call that comfort.
Maybe. Let's have a look back at James Barry. Did he jump? It didn't look like he jumped there. So what did he do?
Did something force him to stop the car, I wonder? Did you see any sign of damage anywhere? I didn't myself.
No.
They are going 3 wide down paddock hill. Love it.
I didn't see anything in the opening run for Barry. He didn't get pinched anywhere. He didn't get spun anywhere. Bird's in there. Reed forces as well inside. No, there's nothing generally visual from Barry. He is out on the circuit, but he's all the way down in 14th. Harmon and Bird are going side by side. Buson still escaped. Gonzaga's still in there. McCutcheon has cleared Williams, but Williams has now got the Steelies in behind him. He's now going to run after him here for Rob Williams. So we'll see what Williams can do from this far. Harmon and Bird battling it out. Jacqueline Reed still going at each other. And Bramer in there, all at the same time. Menett with a Graf not far away. Mellis has got Rolliston and Matthews. Don't forget Rolliston's had pedal problems, so I'm hoping his pedals stay in one place there, to be honest with you, Howard. Last thing he wants to do is push the pedal and find out it's shot off 4 inches.
Yeah, maybe if that's the reason you don't like rounds, you want to blame the pedal and not the track yourself. Good to get that recovered for the start of this race. That could have been a straight up drop from the start. There aren't too many insane braking zones around here, but still need quite a bit of precision to get the brakes right.
Yep, you still need brake pedals. You can blip these things down, but you might blow it up by the time you get it into the corner if you're trying to come down at pace. And at this moment in time, Jamie Bird in there with Harmon. McCutcheon trying to close on Gonzaga. Now, can Gonzaga do Barry, his teammate, an absolute solid here and try and slow McCutcheon down? The problem is the Scotsman, a wily old fox. He's the William Wallace of the SR10, is John McCutcheon. He knows pretty much every trick in the book. Let's be real about it. He's Scottish. They probably wrote every trick in the book. So he's going to make sure that he can clear Gonzaga when he gets near him here, Howie, because he needs to, because his teammate for Gonzaga is down in 14th, 18 seconds off the back of the field here, and Gonzaga could do a solid, but it's whether or not McCutcheon's going to let him.
He struggled in the sprint. He tried to make moves and got sent back. Is that frustration maybe boiling over? Is that sort of this desire to get back this position you deserve on the road now? Or are we going to see the same sort of mistake replicate itself in this second round as he tries to weave around the back of Gonzaga, not given any room at all? He's got that body language of, I am going to force this way through. I think watching this into Druids is the next best chance.
Yeah, here he goes now. McCutcheon fastest lap, 17.459 through Paddock Hill. Coming up the other side. Is he going to dive up the inside? No, Gonzaga's too smart. He covers him off. Now dropping down through Druids into Graham Hill. Buson still out in front. In other leagues, Buson and McCutcheon are teammates, but they're not in here. Why are they not? Because we don't do team championships. Gonzaga's gone wide. That allowed McCutcheon to go through. He didn't have to force it, Howie. Gonzaga gave it over himself.
That's
That's the playbook here, is pressure the driver in front to think you're going to do something ridiculous, and they'll eventually just lose it under their own weight. That's often how you're going to be getting free positions around there. He's played the playbook. Wonderful son is vulnerable. That's very, very wide there.
Again from Williams. It's almost like the pressure of the three boys behind him is just making him crack here a little bit. He's definitely not being a walnut, he's being a soggy peanut at the moment, Williams. He's just literally gone down the order, lost 3 places, put himself under attack now from Josh Reed. And what's that just pressure based on Williams? Could he just politely not handle what was going on behind him?
Or is it just some of these corners back to back? It's a very... Okay, I called it easier earlier, but one thing is very relentless, that back half, just because you don't really get that much time between corners that you either sort of know or you don't. It's very easy to just sort of, in that autopilot trance, run a bit wide a few times. The conclusion of that GT3 week I had around here is I tried the endurance on no sleep and crashed out in the first hour. So I definitely know what it's like to make a few too many mistakes on the road and kick yourself.
McCutcheon now closed on to the back of Mike Bousson there. Is he going to be able to get through? Both of these boys are effectively in Team Radline, but both of these have decided that there's no team championship, so they won't have a team championship. Oh, Bousson's just run a little bit wide there. He's opened up the door. That's allowed McCutcheon to go through. I don't know how much there was from Mike, or whether or not that was maybe a slight... did he lift? Yeah, he let him through on that one, I think, from Mike Bousson. I'm sure he'll tell me otherwise in a driver interview, but I can safely say he probably had a little bit of a lift there. Harman still got Bramer in behind him. Bird there as well. Reed now with Williams. Williams now catching up to Jacklett, who he can race. The guys in front aren't quicker than Rob. He isn't going to mind me saying that. I've known Rob for years, and at the end of the day, he's the one who got me into iRacing in the first place. But he will say one thing, he will admit himself he's not as fast as the guys in and around him, but now he's in and around where he should be. Carl Jacklett, Menno de Graaf, Rolliston, Mellis, Matthews, he can all fight them guys. I think the likes of Reed, Bird, Bramer, Harmer, Gonzaga, Bousson and McCutcheon are just too fast, Howie. And I think the thing is as well, it's just admitting when you are almost, I'm not going to say defeated, but when you are just not really looking for the cars around you to be fighting. It's like a Haas trying to fight a Mercedes. It's absolutely pointless. You might as well settle in and try and fight the cars, the Williamses of you around you.
I think as well on a track like this, it really incentivizes playing your own race, playing your own game, and not getting too stressed by the people around you, as stress leads to tiny little offs, and tiny little offs leads to disaster and free positions. If you are faster on the long run, you don't need to chase like an absolute madman, because hopefully in clear air, you can make that time up in the pit lane. That's always my mentality around it.
Yeah. Mine is just trying to keep it on track, Howie. That's it. If I survive and kept the car on the race circuit, I'll be happy. Williams has just cleared Reed there. I'm wondering if Reed just got a slowdown because he's just lost 2 places. I'm going to presume he actually did on that one. Bramer's now in and around with Harman. Harman declaring his hatred for Brands here. But yeah, at this moment in time, seems to be doing pretty much quite a good job here.
Just stay in someone's there, just hope they make an error, and then eventually, maybe, in a while, drop into the lane if it ain't working. I think it does sort of, I say it like it's easy and it sort of writes itself a little bit, but the real challenge is in making every corner in this track every single time, because they're all just so deceptive. Following a few corners up here are so blind around Hawthorns. Then as we go down Derek Minter into Westfield, you sort of want to cut a little bit on the inside and go wide here, but not too much on either end. You can't really see the AstroTurf. Finally through the Dingle Dell, another nice cut.
Oh, it's on the grass.
That is the mistake ahead needed. It's now they're side by side. He's not completely cleared yet. Jamie Bird's looking for a shot. He's run out of room on the inside. He's not giving it up though. He's still alongside. There could be more drama here indeed. Jamie Bird makes it out ahead. It's 2 places lost for Harman on the road. I'm amazed that didn't end worse.
Oh, I tell you what, crashing on the straight is my pet hate. And those two nearly did it there. That was just unbelievable racing, and I think for these guys, it's been absolutely epic. They've been having a right little ding-dong. They almost came together in race 1 as well, Howie. They weren't too far off doing the same thing in race 1. Harmon went, I believe it might have been Harmon went to cover it off again, and Bird managed to sneak his way through here. But I can tell you one thing, for the fact that they've survived, the fact that Bird kept his foot in as well, and didn't let Jamie Bird have that, or didn't let Harmon get that position back, well, it says something about Jamie Bird, doesn't it?
It was just absolute credit to him. He finds that opportunity ahead where the two drivers are sort of battling it out, and he thinks, this could be my chance to sneak through. And just about, you'll get a tiny window to do it, and that's it. It's Josh Reed running side by side with Jalaket. Just about gets away with it this time, Jalaket, but I think he's vulnerable here, as this long straight coming down is going to possibly not quite going into the end of the layout. He has made it onto the inside, but Jalaket just seems to have this little advantage every time.
Yeah, as Howie, I will just give you a quick update. It's Jackalet. Yeah, on that one.
I've literally raced with him before on his channel as well, in the voice channel.
Mate.
How could I do this? How could I do this?
Don't worry about it, trust me. Look at me trying to do pronunciations on European names in IGP on Sunday. It's an absolutely nightmare. When you got names like Kyriakopoulos, it's a bit of a tongue tie. But yeah, Jackalet there doing a great job with Josh Reed, kind of pushed him back a little bit. That's going to allow him now. Williams, I've got to be honest, you're having a drive of your life there, son. Don't go and get it completely wrong. You can do this. Now, normally, that we have seen this season, Williams making mistakes, and we have seen before that obviously he just gets that little bit between his teeth, and then unfortunately he ends up making a mistake, and something happens, and a wall nearly sort of plays an effect. Do you know what I mean? So I'm hoping that doesn't happen to Rob Williams here, and I'm hoping he keeps it on the racetrack. Mano de Graaf is now closing on the back of Reed as they're on their way under the Advan Bridge, going through Clark now, final corner on what has been this absolutely amazing circuit. You want to see something amazing as well, guys. Join us tomorrow night. UK Sim Racers, they're MX-5s, and they're racing at Brands Indy. So that's going to be an absolute barnstorming evening of racing. Join us for that one. We go live about 10 to 8 in the evening tomorrow night. And if you've seen the UK Sim Racers, 4 races of absolute barnstorming racing. Barry's at the back. He's just set the fastest lap of the race there for James Barry. Still about 6 seconds off the back of Graham Matthews, but he is closing. McCutcheon's opened up 4 seconds. Gonzaga has got boosts on. Oh. How did Gonzaga get boosts on? Okay.
Just overcooking it on the exit.
Yeah.
3 positions. Nice to have that much space for once with these cars. Often just, there's been so much contact, more contact than I could have anticipated going into today. But you tell me that's how they drive.
Mm-hmm. But you can guarantee as well, they will come out after this and just be like, meh, well done. Good job. You know what I mean? There's no hostilities. These are all men. They're all, a man's man. They take racing as it is. They know they're going to get their elbows out, Howie. They know they're going to give it a little bit of bump and a grind and a bit of a ding-dong and have a little bit of a tassel, like they are right now. Reed and Jackalet side by side through Paddock Hill up into Druids. They're still going. Now, I will say something for Josh Reed. He has got to make sure this overtake is on point. The reason he's got to make sure this overtake's on point, Jackalet is very well renowned for being very, very difficult to overtake. So Josh Reed did make it through. Oh no! He's going to close. They're coming side by side again, Howie.
Yeah, don't get stuck behind Jackalet. I've been behind Jackalet before. I've been frustrated by the experience. The two still running so excellently side by side, but Jackalet doesn't want to give this one up a bit. Behind here, though, Graf's going to take the opportunity. All 3 of these cars are just... I think all 3 of them are in it. No, down the road. Reed gets away. Jackalet doesn't want to lose out of places, but he just... So many people have gone wide there. Carry a tiny bit too much speed, and he's out of it.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Carl Jacklett, now into the clutches of Stefan Mellis, the real-life DJ on this grid, and he's now here racing away, trying to catch up with Carl Jacklett. What's going on back up here with Mike Busson? Busson's going backwards quicker than he's going forwards here, Howie. Not ideal for Mike.
Hate to see someone up in front of you just slowly disappear and think, oh no, I'm not, you know, I'm being given clear air and I'm not making up that difference. And now you have to think about defending the guy behind. Is there like a mental game at play? Is there a little bit of sort of that mental tilt element where people don't quite drive their best? Or is it just a temporary blip? He'd like to say the latter. We'll have to see how that one plays out. Still a long time to go.
No, absolutely. Still got near just under 30 minutes now. Pit stops will be coming through within the next 10 to 15. So we'll see how this one pans out. And I think it's going to be very, very exciting indeed. Ewan Bramer, though, absolutely flying this season, doing a great job in this car, and it's home. It's where I've known Ewan Bramer. I've known him for 3 years. We were in the FBL together, Formula Baltic League back in the day with me, Bramer. Williams was in there as well. There was a couple of others in there, and it's literally been Bramer's bread and butter, the SR8s. It's been his moment. It's been his time. It's his home. It's his life for Bramer in these SR8s, and he's done absolutely amazing, and he still will do amazing. When you're brought and bred with one car, it kind of keeps you going here.
And you can start to apply it to every single track. It's almost like automatic. It just sort of writes itself. Not quite made it into that top 3 yet, but I think he has the pace to make something nice work. And with third in this championship, there's a little bit of a gap to the drivers in front, but he needs to beat up McHutchinson to make up any ground. And McHutchinson's had the race of his life 7 seconds down the road. So as much of a lover of this car he may be, something wild's going to need to happen for him to take this win off. But wilder things have happened already today.
Yeah, there's been an absolute bunch of stuff that's gone on. These guys continuing to fight. Reed is trying to get back to the back of Williams. De Graaf is in the background there. Menno in that white, red and blue machine. Williams there for the cracking racing silver and red and black machine that he designed himself, Rob. How is he going to handle this? Well, he's got a Scotsman coming at him at an absolute rate of knots. And for Mr. Williams, he's just going to have to hold his nerve a little bit, I think, here, Howie. Buckle in, knuckle in, and, well, hopefully try and get to the end of the race where he is.
Well, it's the catchphrase I've said about 50 times here today. I'll say it again. Run your race. Don't let the others distract you. Don't let the others push you over the line. Run the best pace you can and see if things change in the pit lane. As we approach the halfway mark, people are going to be thinking about making that decision. You're right in that waiting until the tanks dry out when there's no tyre strategy is usually the best strategy of them all. But I do find drivers that can't get past others around here can very quickly take that advantage by just dipping out of that air, coming out with nobody in front and hoping that their outlaps are absolutely beastly. That's a decision point to make around here, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're not going to take tyres in this race, right? They are literally going to try and run this as well. And I think that's going to shorten it down. It's now who's going to nail the in-lap, nail the out-lap, and nail the fuel stop. Oh, you cannot pass what you cannot see there. And Mr. Reed, well, Williams couldn't see him at one point, so he could not pass what he could not see, as I've also become a victim of that. Busson still under pressure from the Flying Dutchman here, Ewan Bramer, and he's still trying to hold on to this third place for Mike. I'm wondering if he's going to wait till he gets to the pit stops. Will he do? Generally, we won't do tyres, but I'm just wondering if it's going to be the way forward for some of them.
It depends on the compound the car gets, and this is quite an old car in iRacing, so I'm not exactly sure what they've done with the wear rate. I know there's a lot of classes where in 40 minutes, you don't do it, because it costs you loads of time in the lane. They can't do it while they're putting the fuel in, and the compound's so hard that it doesn't wear through. And I typically find only the Formula cars might force you to make that decision, and even then you might lose time in lane. I personally don't think we're seeing many cars go up on the jacks, and I'll go even as far to say that cars that do might be making a mistake. When I say something like that, though, it turns out to be the opposite when you're under them with me. You just have a great way of just breaking my predictions, so who knows?
Yeah, well, it's like anything, isn't it? You know, that commentator's curse. It's not a curse, it's just a coincidence. At that moment, we're talking about people, and they do make a mistake here. Let's hope this doesn't happen, because I don't want to hear it, because I will hear it off the likes of Ewan Bramer and Buson, depending if it even happens to either of these. 21 minutes in, Bramer's fighting it out here. Buson is still in front of him. Bramer's closing. Bird's trying to get into the mix as well. Down here, Josh Reed has got past Rob Williams. In fact, they passed each other 3 times over a few parts here. This is one of them. Reed's going to try and go up the other side. That was the situation where we saw that obviously you can't pass what you can't see. And I believe that may have signalled them saying that was actually a free pass move, because obviously he disappeared and never came back. But now he's back, and I'm going to stay off him for a minute there, because I have seen that crash computers. Bramer's into the pit lane already here, Howie. An early one, 20 minutes in.
You lose the most time when you do this, because you're putting the most fuel in the car and you're running with the heavier tank for longer. But in exchange, you're the first one that gets chances to run out laps on a hopefully pretty empty track in front of you. And if you can just do that faster than other people who are battling and tangling and annoying and irritating each other, you'll find yourself in a place at the end of the race that seems ridiculous. That was the story of my GT3 days around there. He has dropped in here just behind Bramer, though. Yeah, not exactly the clear area he was looking for.
Yeah, he won Bramer behind Barry, but he's in front of Graham Matthews. That was the important thing, I think, for him. He has got in front of Graham Matthews, so it does allow him to have one less person to overtake. Barry went in on lap 1 here, Howie. There's no chance he is likely to get to the end of this race unless Barry's going to pull an absolute masterstroke, and I can't see that happening. He's 27 seconds back from McCutchinson. I think it might be a little bit further than that as well, considering McCutchinson is all the way going into Druids, and Barry is coming down under the up-band. So, yeah. We'll have to see whether or not he can get McCutchinson here, but I don't believe he's going to be able to, just as much as I don't know if he's going to be able to get to the end of the race.
I think that stop must have been for something else. You might want to ask later if you have the opportunity, because that's not going to, with a limited fuel tank, allow you to quite run the whole way. Curious about it, but something no doubt happened on the road. First driver stopping could trigger a chain now. We'll see how people react over the next few laps. Usually these cars have a little bit of margin unless you sort of pick your lap to stop. That was very much a strategical decision to stop that early.
Yeah. And I'm wondering if he's taken the undercut as such to try and jump some people in the pits, and you know, maybe he feels for Ewan Bramer that Buson could be an option, Gonzaga could be an option, his target position could be around 3rd, maybe here, 4th possibly. I would probably say he's a little bit far off McCutchinson, right? The gap to Gonzaga's nearly 10 seconds. I think, to be blatantly honest, he's a little bit far off that one. But I think, you know, for Bramer, 3rd could be on the cards.
Very much so. If you're running at 3rd pace and you make that stop early, it looks like you'd be set a million miles back, but then it all plays out by the end. It's going to take a while for us to see where drivers really sit at the end of these pit stop runs, but a lot of these gaps are starting to extend. With Hutchinson 10 seconds down the road, it would take a horrific incident or act of God to take him down at this stage, but we've seen a lot of drivers lose it under their own weight here as well. He doesn't want to think too much about that. He just wants to think about hot lapping for 40 minutes. Do you think it gets boring?
No. Why would it?
I do like battling other people, but also I could drive 40 minutes to this track and not get bored. So, you know, I guess it depends on the car track combo and it depends on the situation. Imagine running Daytona solo, for instance. You know, nothing there. That bores you to death.
Le Mans.
So, yeah, Le Mans. I mean,
oh my God, I could not
it.
think of anything worse. Howie.
Without the chicanes, you just go in a straight line path of it.
I think the thing is, if I was to run Le Mans without chicanes, I think that I would want to be in something that I don't know, Ford GT40 from the 60s.
Even that gets boring. You do it a few times, and you're like, okay.
Something fun.
Le Mans is defined by traffic, you know, like it's a fun track in part because you're always dealing with traffic and you're always negotiating that. And so even if you're winning, there's cars that you have to think about on the road. Some of these big endurance tracks, I think, are defined by the way you navigate other cars. It was certainly one of the things that made the Road Atlanta tolerable for 10 hours was that as much as I don't adore that track, it's fun trying to work your way around people, and that's all about that extra element, even if the next guy was 2 laps down the road, so there was no real race for us. So Le Mans one of those tracks I think that settles on sort of like you have to do the multi-class there. I did the GT3 there this season, and it was boring of a single class, even when you're racing, because there's just not much going on.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think something riding around in a 66 Ford GT, Rob Williams. Oh, dearie me. Change of underpads for cracking racing.
It's a great save. That's a fantastic save, though. Thing number 1 you can do is not end up there in the first place, but thing number 2 you can do is recover it without spinning. Look at that work. And without contact on either end. That's one of the moments of the whole run, even if it's sent him back a place, I think. You've got to give credit for that when it's due.
Oh, absolutely. I'm giving him credit for that. He's just done his gym workout. The man never goes to the gym. He's just done it in one corner at Brands Hatch there. Incredible. Barry, you are not going to get an easy run past Carl Jacklett. Jacklett is going to defend his absolute life off, but however, he has just left the door wide open. Is Jacklett going to make it around the outside? No. Yes. No, I can't quite decide. I think so on here as well. Carl Jacklett tucked up alongside James Barry, going into the right hander now of Hawthorne's. Is Jacklett going to send it in a little bit deeper? It looks like he may have done. Now he slots in behind Barry, but I can tell you what though, that from Carl Jacklett, he put up a good fight.
He did defend that well. I really like them going side by side in the Hawthorne. I think Barry has proven himself fundamentally faster, and he's got points to make up. And he's got positions to make up on the road. But even the slower drivers aren't going to make it easy for you around there. You have to earn every place on the track.
Exactly. But can the question be for Barry? Does he have to stop again after stopping on lap 1?
I think you've said that we've got the fixed setups, and that generally means that the fuel tank size is limited, and the cars probably start on full of their capacity unless you've made that change yourself.
No, the setups, the fixed setups generally last for about 30 minutes, 35 minutes.
That's so. It's interesting. If it's as fixed on that, then yeah, you're just not going to have the time. And we have to work out what happened with that pit stop at the start. But he's going to want to still run that tank as long as humanly possible. I think you run a little bit faster doing that, and you'll slot in around the people around you who haven't stopped yet.
Yeah, Bramer and Mellis there. I'm sure Bramer was a lot further up than that at one point, or maybe he's caught up with Mellis on that. Maybe he did after his pit stop. He pitted on lap 17. So Ewan Bramer now is going to chase Stefan Mellis. Stefan Mellis is going to chase Ewan Bramer and see whether or not he can get close here. I don't know. There's a lot going on in the James Barry head at this moment in time, and I'm wondering whether or not he's put in enough to make it to the end, or whether I don't know. I think we're gonna have to play it by ear on that one for Mr. Barry. I'd be interested to find out what actually happened though. But Jamie Bird pushing Mike Bousson. They know each other from the Thursday series, of course, and they're still fighting it out now through the right-hander of Hawthorns. Down Derek Minter coming into the right-hander of Westfield. Bird looks like he's got a lot better run down through Dingle down now, coming out the top in Sheens. The right-hander blind, point, shoot and hope. That's it. Now into the left-hander of Sterling's. These guys continuing to fight. Does Bousson look a little bit quicker, or am I missing it and Bird's just not quite getting the runs properly?
Probably that one driver's faster on one bit and the other driver's faster on the other, and then it sort of aggregates out. But if anyone's going to make a crazy pass and really force the issue soon, it's Bird. Waiting for that chance where he is better and just absolutely sending it. I've been calling that it would happen around this corner all race, and it's not happened a single time around here, and then it's happened everywhere it doesn't happen. So another game of the commentator's predictions not quite coming true, but Bird's not looking patient back there at the very least.
No, Bousson's not looking tidy either, and both of these have still got a pit stop to make. In fact, Barry and Bramer are the only two people that have made a pit stop. Everybody else has not. We lost David Rolliston, then pedals just became a little bit too much for him. His exact words were, pedal deck pushed up against the wall, didn't work long. So unfortunately there as well. So I guess David Rolliston did not get time to put the pedals back. Stefan Mellis has just had a moment here. What have you been up to, dear sir? And did that car... Oh, it's going to go round. Ready, steady, and action. There we go. On that one.
Didn't look like it was... I mean, you could see it coming, but just looking at the actions going into that, it didn't really look like something that was ready to precede a spin. Just
no.
The tyres giving out a little bit of heat, few factors going on at once, and it just happens.
It's a very innocuous spin. It's one of them annoying ones. And we've all had them, right? We've come off the grass, we've got onto the tarmac, and then next thing you know, the car's gone round for no apparent reason other than it thinks it can. It's annoying. There's no reason, there's no thought behind it, there's no rhyme behind it, there's nothing behind it. It's just one of them things where you go out onto the racetrack, you run a little bit wide, you slow down to get it back onto the tarmac, and next thing you know, your car spins. Again, can't quite figure out why, don't know the reason why to it, but it just happens. And that, unfortunately, is what happened to Stefan Mellis. Josh Reed has gone into the pit lane. He's come out behind Ewan Bramer. Bousson is now under immense pressure from Bird here, dropping down through Dingledale, coming up through Sheens at the moment, and Bird is still putting him under pressure, and we've still got 12 minutes to go.
Not too much time now. Drivers have really made their strategy moves clear, and now you could almost call it a sprint race. Bousson still being absolutely hounded, but we've seen Bird make outrageous moves today. It's going to be one of those blink and you miss it moments, and it will happen when we least expect it, I think.
Yes, I kind of agree with you. I think that's it. It will be where all of a sudden it will just kick in, and then the next thing you know, we will have fireworks. And that's what I kind of expect. The Graph's in the pit lane.
Almost. I mean, you're sort of tempting fate there a little bit, dare I say. Not quite yet, but that's probably encouraging to Bird, the idea that the pressure's working, because it might encourage you to back it off a bit and just wait for it to happen again, but worse.
Yeah, but is that scenario there for him, waiting on the basis of the tyres are starting to go and he's starting to get a little bit hot? Or is he just thinking he's just made a mistake and he applied the pressure too much? Surely there's got to be more here as well. Josh Reed out. Why are you out? That looks like a disconnect.
Real life calls, internet calls, act of God. Who knows?
I don't know, but he left the pit lane. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I'm going to go do some digging on that one. As Melo de Graaf and Graham Matthews continue to fight out. Jamie Bird and Mike Boost on the steel scrapping. Gonzaga's got into the pits. Barry went in the pits on lap number 1 and got himself up into 5th place. Williams has not yet gone into the pits, but de Graaf and Matthews fighting out. We've got 3 Scots in here, of course. One is Graham Matthews, one is Josh Reed, and one is John McHutchinson. Josh Reed disconnected with 10 minutes to go.
Maybe just that tired of Brands Hatch at this point. Who could be tired of Brands Hatch? Who could do it? I don't know. Give me their names.
I think the problem is how he got to the point where game turned around and was like, yeah, we've had a bit too much of the blinking, packet loss, adios. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the thing. And for Josh Reed, it's very difficult when it's not even his kind of responsibility, is it, on that one? The McHutchinson, Buson, Reed, Harmon are in. Where is Barry? Well, McHutchinson
is going to try and go long.
He is, but how long can he go? He's gone first place.
So I anticipate that this is the last lap that drivers that started the race can stop. And then Barry has one more because the car was stopped. What he does on the next lap is about whether he's going to try and go long or whether he just takes that stop. That's the question.
Anticipate, McHutchinson has just got a speeding in the pit lane penalty because he is still in the pit lane. And now he is gone, and it's 40 seconds behind everybody else to the point where he's behind Rob Williams. McHutchinson made a crazy mistake. He's just got a pit lane penalty, and he had to stop at the hole for 40 seconds. Bird and Bramer side by side, both of these coming out after their pit stops. Mike Buson's there and in front of them, but John McHutchinson kicking the teeth.
If you get a slightly better pit entry and pit exit, that's almost a position for free. Bird's been looking for that for a very long time, up into the top 3, and hopefully can hold on to it with 8 minutes to go. I'm keeping an eye on Barry coming around the track on the map right now. He looks like he might be trying to go long. Maybe has been spending this whole race absolutely fuel saving.
Maybe. I don't disagree with you, Howie. I don't disagree. I'm wondering if he realised something, that if he went in on lap 1, topped up, and then back out, he had enough to get to the end of the race. Is he going to get to the end of the race?
I'll give him one more lap to blink, because obviously he would have used less fuel having stopped early no matter what, and so he's got that crossover time that isn't quite the same as everyone else. I'll give him one more to think about it, and if he doesn't, then it's absolutely certain that we are going to see the Brands Hatch miracle possibly try to play out.
Yes. Maybe. He's got 7 minutes, Mr. Barry. We unfortunately do not get the fuel calc, so we can't tell you what he's got or what he hasn't. Ewan Bramer, Bird and Buson, though, these guys have got 7 minutes. They've clearly got enough fuel, and they're clearly just going to go hammer and tong, Howie. And this is what we love to see. And hopefully, you never know, might come out on top. Is it going to be Buson? Is it going to be Bird? Or is it going to be Bramer if Barry does pit?
Well, only a few minutes to go, so the gloves are going to come off. I've been talking about patience this whole race. You are not running your own race anymore with 5 to go. If you see it, you are doing it. And we've seen people do the outrageous around here in reference to those sprint timings especially. Barry has stayed out. I wonder if... I'll get back to that one in a second as finally the Druids could... the Druid's lap has been done. Off the inside, loose on the outside. I don't know quite what happened there, but Bird's still stuck behind. He's going to clear through now.
Oh, Bramer got the move done, and then he applied the pedal, applied the throttle, and then he just didn't have anything. He literally just pressed the pedal and it slid up and went all crazy. and it's allowed Bird to go through. Phil, welcome in. Where you been, dude? We're like 5 minutes on the end as these guys continue to fight. Bramer and Bird, and Bramer just applied the throttle, and literally it just said, no, I'm going to start acting as if you've slammed the throttle down on me.
I mean, that corner, I'd maybe like to see if there was contact. I don't think it's likely, but it's just that that angle didn't really show me, you know, and that's a thing that could have easily unsettled the car. But we would have seen a bit more of a violent reaction if there was heavy contact. Bramer isn't done just yet. 5 minutes to go. Barry, I think, has been lifting and coasting around this entire track, trying to save as much fuel as possible, and is now going for the miracle.
Let's have a look. That's Matthews. Oh, Mellis.
We're both taking nice sips, I think, while we listen.
Yeah, I was just trying to see if there was any lift.
You have to be doing something. Like, there's no way you can just not stop and drive like you have, and no one else worked it out. I think there's a play here, and it could be the most unbelievable play. You're gonna have to change the whole league to account for this sort of stuff. Like, it's crazy that 18 seconds was being able to pull on the back of this with that lap 1 stop. Maybe the maths were done though.
Maybe. I can't hear him lifting.
Could have done it earlier, could have gotten himself under Delta, could just be guessing, didn't even look. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'd love to ask.
Yeah, we'll find out in the interview, I'm sure, if he does take this victory. James Barry, going to be very, very interested indeed. Mike Buson, Bird, Bramer, still fighting out. McCutchinson's down in 7th now. And that's the problem for John McCutchinson. One problem, one speeding in the pit lane, and it just all unraveled. He had this wrapped up, Howie. He just had to get in the pit lane.
I've done it so many times. I've ruined so many races. Do you know if this car has a speed limiter?
No, it doesn't.
Went up with it. Well, yeah, that's the easy way to do it then, is just not quite hit that.
Oh, you mean a pit speed limit? Yes, it does.
Okay, so I've still messed up entry and exit with pit lane speed limiters, I was going to say. Could have also been crossing the line on entry as well, not getting your entry perfect. This track doesn't have a ridiculous entry line, but there's always a line, there's always a way, and I have seen people make that mistake around here. 3 cars in a train to finish. We're very close to the white flag.
Yeah, it's going to be this next time. I think he's going to get one more. I'm trying to just look. Yeah, he should get one more lap here before the end of the race. Bird's trying to cover off Bramer, and he's fighting here as well. Bird is literally full on gloves off and is just scrapping away with Bramer. And these guys just don't want to separate. And they don't want to... Oh, they don't want to separate at all. They're just going to stay neck and neck here, Howie.
Well, no, you want to stay next to him. Well, the guy in front wants to separate, but the guy in behind wants to be with you, and the guy behind wants to be with him as well. It's a crazy 3-car train. No one's quite doing anything outrageous. You've been going for 40 minutes. You don't want to throw it away just yet. But if an opportunity opens, it will. As, is this the checkered flag, or is this the white flag we're looking at?
It's the white flag. It is the white flag.
I can't believe what I'm seeing here. He's gained 3 seconds having done this, by the way, as they possibly try and go 3 wide.
Oh, Bramer's going to try and go around the outside of Bird. Bird's not going to... Bird's had to come in. Oh, no. Final lap.
Is that an incident count? That might be incident count. As he runs his way, he has been making a lot of extends and a few...
Oh, Jamie Bird, it is. Oh.
It's a day of tears and drama for so many on this circuit. I didn't know. I love it to bits. I told you so, but I didn't know there'd be so many elbows out all over the track. It's just a battle of two now. Buson and Bremer as Barry approaches the checkered flag with a strategy. Must have been a strategy. It must have been a strategy, and it was for unthinkable.
Yeah, James Barry's going to wrap up the race number one, race win in race number 2. He comes over the line on the grass, mind you. Now he's going to get to the end of the race. James Barry takes the victory in race number 2. Mike Buson might grab second. He's fighting away with Iwan Bremer right the way down to the line. It's going to be the final run here. Bremer cannot get Buson, I don't think. I think Buson's going to hold on to second place. He is. Mike Buson holds on to second. Iwan Bremer in third. Great job. Eric Harmon, after hating the track, comes across the line in fourth. Jamie Bird is going to come over in fifth. And John McCutcheon is going to kick himself coming over the line in sixth. Menno de Graaf will be the last one in seventh. And then Kyle Jacklett in 8th place. Rob Williams in 9th. Great job. Gonzaga will come over the line in 10th here. And then Graham Matthews will be the last one running. But Gonzaga comes over the line, 10th place. And there's Mr. Matthews. Great second race as well, Howie.
I mean, that story about the pit strategy is going to be one of the stories of this whole championship, I think. We all thought something must have gone wrong. There's no reason you'd ever stop on that one. But Barry doesn't lead this championship by just being average like the rest. He's extended his lead with an unbelievable strategy. I want to know whether he planned that one in advance or how he made that one happen.
Well, we're going to find out in the interviews after this as well. Let's have a look at the results. Let's try and clear the screen out first. That might be a little bit handy. And James Barry is your winner after pitting on lap number 1. Mike Buson in second, Iwan Bremer in third, Eric Harmon in fourth, John McCutcheon got fifth in the end after his pit lane penalty, Menno de Graaf in sixth, Carl Jacklett seventh, Rob Williams eighth, George Gonzaga down in ninth, Graham Matthews in 10th, and Jamie Bird in 11th, Stefan Mellis down in 12th, Josh Reed in 13th, and David Rolliston in 14th place. Oh. Is going to have a chat with somebody I've not spoken to for quite a while here as well, Mr. Carl Jacklett. Carl, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that. I've been racing a different league with prototypes, and for the first time tonight, I actually felt as if I was racing these cars, not just driving them around. I felt so much more at home in the car. Able to push it a lot better, more consistency, and apart from first race when I was a bit of a, I was going to say something rude then, and punted someone up the bum.
A bit of a wally.
Yeah, just a bit. Someone was being very cautious, and I wasn't.
Yeah, I think the problem is obviously. So much was going on at the start as well, and you're rushing downhill into Graham Hill. It's not the most easiest corner at the best of times. So, I'm sure it was always going to happen.
I do attack from the first lap. I always have done. It's been one of my strengths, but I got it wrong that time.
Yeah.
But that second race, that was a blast. I was so at one with the car, and I've never been at one with this car before. It's been the car's always been fighting me. And tonight I was wrestling the car around. It was great. Really enjoyed it.
Awesome job, Carl. It's always great having a chat with you when you have such a good mood and a good race there, dear sir, as well. Should be an interesting one going into the final races. Imola next week. Then we've got John Knockhill for the Scotsman, and then Nordschleifer finishing off here as well. Carl, the aim for this season, what do you think at the moment? Do you think we're seeing a learning season from Carl Jacklett?
Oh, absolutely. I've always raced the slower cars. These past few months, I've stepped up and taken on much, much quicker cars. And it's making a difference. It really has been making a difference. So yeah, this season has been a learning curve. It started off really well at Alton Park. I was flying, but I do tend to fly quite well at that track. But yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve and looking to learn some more.
Awesome job. Well, Carl, thank you very much for joining me, dear sir. It's been an absolute pleasure. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out to all you guys for doing what you do, and to Georges for punting him round on lap 1 of the first race.
All right, mate. I'm sure he's happy about that as well. Carl, much appreciated. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, I'll be there. Thank you.
Right, and now we're going to go in. Oh,
Yep. Oh.
hello. We're going to go into the man that finished in second place. Some may say lucky. Some may say a stop and goal for John McCutcheon probably allowed him to get there. But we've just always loved him anyway. Let's bring him into the room. Mike, welcome in, buddy.
Evening, chaps. How are we doing?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
Oh, sweaty. My bald little head is perspiring.
Is the wife there with a squeegee, Mike?
Oh, I'm here with a towel mopping myself.
Oh, like, nice.
Right, old mess.
Oh, I bet you are there. I bet you are. How was it out there, bud? It looked a bit of a tough one.
Oh, trying to. Well, I was glad that. So I hear that the John or George managed to find a slowdown and entering the pits. I'm led to believe. So I was expecting third at best, and that was pushing it. So to come out in front of Ewan, and then obviously Jamie and Ewan having to keep each other busy, I think that's made the difference for me. And parking at shame that I sort of contacted Jamie and gave him too many instant points, I think he said. So he had to pit. So, but apart from that, yeah, no.
It's a good race.
A well-fought race.
Oh, absolutely. Well deserved, mate. You know, you did an absolutely
yes,
stellar,
it was.
It was well deserved. You did a stellar job there. Don't forget that one, dear sir. It turns out John's wasn't speeding. It was the pit entry line, apparently.
Yeah, something about a green section entering the pits gives you a 40-second slowdown or something.
What?
You've got to follow that line all the way in, or...
Yeah, so James was saying there's a section of green. If you touch a section of green on your pit entry, it gives you a 40-second penalty.
Oh.
So he says, and James knows most things, so I'll go with it. Apart from fuel, he's never any good at fuel.
Well, he just pitted on lap 1, mate, and did you all?
All right, rub it in.
Well, I'm just saying. I know what you're saying, but he has just pitted on lap 1 and did you all. So
yeah, he's obviously cheating. That's all I can think about, because obviously couldn't have been just pure pace, surely.
What do you mean? What would you want me to do? Go around his house to check his PC or something?
Yeah, I reckon he's got someone else doing it for him.
Oh, right. Like who?
I don't know.
All right.
I can't think of anybody fast right at this moment in time.
All right, mate. Well, no worries. Thanks so much, Mike, for joining me. I'm just looking at John's pit entry now, to be fair. Did he ride across? Briefly.
Yeah, I suppose it's very cruel, and George got the same.
Oh, man, it was cruel. He literally barely touched it.
Obviously, I'm devastated for the pair of them. I really am.
Oh, yeah, clearly in pieces, Mike, aren't you?
I'm gonna send them a condolence card, both of them.
I bet you're not.
No, you're not. Tight as assholes.
Yeah, I know, mate. Again?
Sorry.
Again?
Sorry.
Every week.
Tight as a... No, whatever I say.
The donkey's back high, a bit behind.
Well, if I say tight as a Scotsman, that's racist, isn't it? So I better...
Oh, I don't know. It's only racist in this
modern
world. You're true, though, because if you stuck a lump of coal, as where we know, it would probably come out in a week as a diamond. But there we go on that one. Right, Mike, you know I could sit here and talk to you all night, but we best not. Anyone you want to shout before I let you go?
Oh, the amazing broadcasting staff.
Oh, I didn't ask you to say that. You don't have to say that. I just know it's true.
Wow, No, I'm lying because obviously I haven't heard it yet. It's probably a load of rubbish.
Oh.
But who knows?
Oh, Mike Bousson, you ferocious animal. I'm off tomorrow,
Anyway.
Mike. I'm coming up to Frome. That's it. I'll meet you in the Costas in the High Street.
Costa, I ain't no pikey. Starbucks at least.
Do you have a Starbucks in Frome?
Well, Beckington. Posh.
That's in the service station, Mike. That's in the service station.
Yeah, but it's posh service station.
All right, bud.
Got Marks and Spencer's. Everything.
Mike, love you much. I'm going to kick
Catch
you
you
out.
later.
I'll see you later.
All right, bye.
Bye. Oh my God! I tell you what, I can literally. That is one man I could have a conversation with all day. It just creases me up. There's Mike Bousson. Right, let's pull in the man who pulled a little bit of a masterstroke. He pitted. Now I'm with race number 1. He won. Sorry, I should top on that first. He won race number 1. Went to the 10th. Made his way to 8th after the first lap. Went into the pits on lap 1. Pitted, fueled up, come out. And then did pit again. So we're going to find out how. We did have a little bit of a cryptic conversation during the week, didn't myself and Mr. Barry, about fuel. But let's see how we managed it here as well. James, welcome in, bud. How are you?
Good, thanks. A bit worn out.
Worn out? Well, it worked out.
It only worked out because John got a 40-second penalty. So I looked at the gap when he came out and it was 36. So if John hadn't messed up his entry, he would have won the race, but comfortably.
Yes,
Just
but
putting that
James,
out there.
he did. And
Yeah, of course.
you come through. So don't knock yourself, son. You've still done an absolutely amazing job as well there, bud. Tell us about a fuel scenario. You did some calculations during the week, Mr. Barry.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really anything to do with what I was asking you because that was just when I was getting my calculations wrong. But yeah, I worked out exactly how much I needed because I expected John to get held up behind people. When I pitted, there was still a good few cars ahead of us. And then turns out 2 laps later, he was in the lead and he started doing laps that I don't think he did all week. He started doing pace that I've not seen him do so far, which took me by surprise. And he was going a lot faster than me and I was having to get past some cars as well. So obviously, yeah, happy to get the win, but I definitely count my lucky stars. I actually found out the same way what he did today. I found out the hard way as well in a Formula Ford League race about 3 months ago. So I fortunately knew about that.
Yeah, he crossed that green bit, and
Yeah.
James, it was minimal. It really was minimal. That's an horrendous rule or a horrendous thing that needs changing because that was literally a minimal entry on that one. But listen, right? We'll kick John out of the booth a minute. You're now going to lead going into Imola. Second drop week applies at the end of Imola as well. Where do we think you are in conjunction with Knockhill and Nordschleifer? John's home track is Knockhill. He knows it like the back of his hand here. He's going to bury it. Let's be real about it. How do you think you're going to compare over the last 2 rounds?
So the first time I did Knockhill was in the SR10 and it was quite a handful there because that car was quite sensitive to the bumps. But then I did it in the Formula Ford and in that car you could just ride over the curbs with 0 issues. And this car I think will be somewhere in between, hopefully closer to the Formula Ford because at tracks like Road Atlanta this car rode the curbs really nicely. So I think I'm going to be alright at Knockhill. I think John will be faster probably. So it's just about kind of consolidating the points for myself because I think he's got some kind of the weak drop rounds now, considering he missed a race as well. So I'm definitely in a good position and definitely do want to win the championship from here.
Oh, James, you're a ferocious man, you. Anyone you want to shout out, buddy, before we let you go?
Just everyone who turns up, who makes it what it is, and it's always really fun.
Awesome stuff. James, thank you very much there, bud. Take care. See you next week.
Cheers. See you. Bye.
Howie, 3 different interviews. Carl, it feels finally at home with the car. Mike, I don't really know what to say about Mike. It's just Mike. And James, who pulled a master stroke, but seems very modest about it. You know what I mean? I think James has got self-confidence that he doesn't really see how good he actually is, but he is actually good in the car.
Well, he's leading that championship by a good margin and expanded it again with a double win. So I think there's nothing but proudness to be. I think this track humbles a lot of people, though. I think once you're done with it, you're out of breath. It's an absolute roller coaster.
No, it absolutely is there as well. Right, guys, that's going to wrap it up here. Once more, don't forget, if you want to get yourselves involved, you can do. All links down in the description below, and you can come and have some fun in the SR8s. There is also the Lucas Oil trucks that are coming back next season for season number 2. So if you like the super speed trucks, come and join us for a 6-week calendar. Watkins Glen, Detroit. There's going to be dirt tracks on there with jumps. Long Beach is coming back as well, and another dirt track to finish off. Damage is completely off. It's all just for a bit of fun. So if you want to come along and join us for trucks, free entry. Get yourselves involved in that one. Don't forget, join us tomorrow night, Brands Hatch Indy for the UK Sim Racers. We've got Autobahn later on the JPB YouTube channel, so get yourself involved in that. All the videos are prepared for the week, so you can have a look through and get a reminder for any that you fancy taking part in. But for now, guys, I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Howie Burroughs, and as always, take care, have a great week, and you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.